So, you're interested in archaeology. I hope you like soil, paperwork, and explaining to people that we don't dig up dinosaurs. Jokes aside, archaeology is actually really important. It is the primary way in which we can learn about past human activities that predate written records. And did you know that there are people who actually get paid to do archaeology? Sometimes paid a lot. And they also help local First Nations with something that is usually considered to be of extreme importance, but mostly the money. Well, before we get you started on that morally dubious journey and answer the question, how do I become an archaeologist? We have to take a moment to answer a couple of important questions. What even is archaeology? And why is it important? Archaeology can have many different definitions depending on what type of complicated theoretical framework you're using, which I'm not going to get into. For the sake of brevity, I am going to give a relatively basic definition. Archaeology is the study of past human behavior through the material culture that is left behind as a result of that behavior. This can include things such as stone tools, fire hearths, art, and a whole lot more. Where these remains are found in the world, what they are, and what they are found with can help us make assumptions about the past and learn about how life was once lived. Now, archaeology is done differently in different places in the world, and the rationale for doing archaeology can differ depending on where you are. This can range from heritage conservation to research driven archaeology and for tourism. In British Columbia, Canada, where I live, archaeology is mainly conducted through a field known as Cultural Resource Management, or CRM for short. This is the field in which you will most likely work if you want to become a professional archaeologist in BC, so I'm very quickly going to explain how it works. There are other ways in which you can become an archaeologist in British Columbia, but cultural resource management is the field that employs the most archaeologists by far, and will be your best bet. British Columbia, and Canada as a whole, is home to thousands of different First Nations groups that have lived here for 14,000 years, and probably a whole lot more. Physical evidence of this can be found scattered almost everywhere in the province. These are known as archaeological sites, locations bearing physical evidence of past human activity, like what I discussed before. Now we get into the real reason why archaeologists have a job in British Columbia. This is all because of a piece of legislation called the Heritage Conservation Act, informally known as the HCA. All cultural materials in British Columbia, things like stone tools and fire pits and other such features, that predate the year 1846 are legally protected from destruction or disturbance in any form. This means that archaeological sites cannot be disturbed in any way, even by accident, without the proper permits and assessments being completed. The Heritage Conservation Act is what gives archaeologists in BC a job. Before a piece of land can be developed in any way, such as for a housing, logging, mining, or trail construction, an archaeologist has to be hired to do a few things. Now, disclaimer. This is a simplification of the archaeological process. In reality, there are often many different stages compiled of different assessments that have enough acronyms to make your head spin. All of this is a topic for another time, not for this video. Anyways, an archaeologist can be hired to 1. Determine if an archaeological site is present at a development location. 2. If there is one present, determine the extent to which the site might be impacted by the proposed development. And 3. Provide recommendations in collaboration with affected First Nations groups on what should be done, such as suggesting the development be cancelled, moved, redesigned, or otherwise changed to avoid archaeological materials. As mentioned previously, archaeology is significant for Indigenous groups. Among a host of other things, it can provide a way for them to be connected to their ancestors who lived on the land hundreds or thousands of years before. Canada has a long and dark past with Indigenous groups, and so it is important for those who are interested in archaeology to try and do what we can to help undo at least a tiny amount of the damage caused by that history. Again, there's a lot more detail I could go into about the importance of archaeology, which wouldn't fit into this video. So again, I'll have to leave it at this basic description. So, now that you know what archaeology is and why we do it, it has finally come time to answer the question of how you actually become an archaeologist. Like everything mentioned previously, this will depend greatly on where you live or are planning to work. This is mainly an explanation of how to become an archaeologist in British Columbia, Canada, though the steps I am about to outline can be applicable no matter where you are located. Step 1. Apply to a university that offers a BA program in either archaeology or anthropology. Although this isn't technically required to become an archaeologist, it is still a good qualification. Saying you don't technically need to learn about archaeology to become an archaeologist is kind of like saying you don't technically need to know anything about a car in order to drive one. Simon Fraser University and the University of British Columbia are good options, with SFU having a dedicated and extensive archaeology program with numerous degree options. Though any other school with a similar program is a fine place to start. Use this opportunity to develop your writing and communication skills. This is something that will be very useful down the line in your career. Step 2. Take an archaeological field school. These are usually offered through universities or colleges and are a great way to get some experience to put on your resume without actually having to go out and apply for jobs and probably get rejected. This will also provide a good foundation in lithic identification and other field skills, and gives you an idea of archaeological field methodology. Step 3. Get to know people. It's much easier to get jobs when you know a lot of other people in the same field as you. It's also a lot easier to make friends when you're all interested in the same thing. Step 4. Graduate and apply for jobs. This one is pretty self-explanatory. There's plenty of places where jobs can get posted, but I suggest checking out the British Columbia Association of Professional Archaeologists job postings webpage. There's lots of other ways of getting jobs in archaeology, for instance, getting connections through your field schools or schooling, but this is going to be the best way failing that. Step 5. Do a graduate degree in archaeology or a similar field. PhD, master's, doesn't really matter. This will help you out later down the line if you want to advance in this profession, or if you want to try out some academic archaeology and see how things are done in a different field. Just because archaeology in British Columbia is mainly driven by developers, logging companies, or mining companies trying to make money at the expense of destroying archaeological sites, it doesn't mean you also have to do archaeology for the money. Archaeologists and Indigenous groups in British Columbia are often the last line of defense to record and help care for these cultural materials and save them from being destroyed. If you liked this video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I really wanted to thank you all for the support on the last couple of videos, and I apologize for being gone for so long. You can try clicking on one of the videos that's on your screen right now, if I remember to put that up. Otherwise, again, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.